How's it going, everybody? It's Krusty Old Crow back again, doing another tactical perspective toy review on a G.I. Joe classified figure. Yeah, yesterday was Remembrance Day here in Canada, and this thing got delivered. And you know me, I don't do videos on Remembrance Day. For the Americans, it's Memorial Day. So I hit it first thing this morning. And then, guys, today we're doing number 172 in the line, Cobra Law Pythona. And I'm going to explain a couple things here before I get started with this unique character, guys. I'll show you the box and all that sepia metallic shine that it brings to it. While I tell you about when I first got into G.I. Joe Classified a few years ago, there were two sublines that I just had zero interest in. One was Cobra Law and the other was Python Patrol. So, as the couple of years progressed and my collecting progressed, I realized, hang on a second, they do some interesting stuff here with the things that I didn't like as a kid or that I initially didn't like when we got started. Now, I have still to this day do not have any Python Patrol in my collection, but for some reason I had to collect Cobra Law, and it's because of how they do the aesthetics of these figures now. When it was 3 3/4, I wasn't too hyped about the details. It just looked weird to me. But when you blow these things up to 6 inch and you put a new amount of detail and care into them with artists and designers the way they are, you're getting something different. But Pythona was a character, as with most Cobra Law, I knew little about, guys. So here on the tactical perspective, you know how I like to do those file card reviews of the character from back in the day. Well, this file card doesn't come from 3D Joe's where I usually get them from. Today I'm pulling it off of yojo.com because it's a 2016 file card. And does it ever reveal a lot? Suddenly I know way more about Pythona and Cobra Law than I did just through learning learning about Serpentor or Nemesis Immortal or Once a Man Cobra Commander. It's pretty interesting. So, guys, you know me, I'm going to do that file card review. I'm going to look at the kit. I'm going to give it attack grade, play grade, and je ne sais quoi grade, French Canadian for what the hell you got going on. And then we'll get out of here because Pythona is one that you've probably seen a few reviews on. But I'll try to sugarcoat this with some photography and whatnot. But let's get into that file card right away. Okay, so I pulled up the 2016 file card from yojo.com. Let's put that up there. And oh, sorry, just been playing with a lot of Cobra Law. Let's get rid of that. And guys, we're gonna go over that file card, and that's how we're gonna get to know Pythona for the first time. For me, some of you, it's just a refamil. But also, like I said, it reveals a lot more than I thought it would in this file card. So I consider this an actually well-written file card, just in how it gets to know this character. So, Cobra Law team, it's codenamed Pythona. Born in the toxic gases of the deepest caves under the Earth's crust, Pythona's blood flows with acid, and her eyes reveal a soul that is bathed in the fiery pits of hell. A temptress, an assassin, and a warrior, Pythona does the bidding of Globulus, the supreme leader of Cobra Law, without question or fail, to one day rise the secret hidden valley in the Himalayas to its rightful place of world domination. Pythona has stalked the shadows of human history, the unseen instigator behind the most significant events since the dawn of man. She was the guiding force of Vlad the Impaler and the whisper in the ear of the Prophet Muhammad. She acts without conscience and serves only to only to misspelt manipulate mankind, unwittingly do the bidding of Cobra Law. Okay, so I didn't realize where Cobra Law was, but it sounds like it's in the Himalayas. I didn't realize Pythona was an immortal, that witch character that guides evil rulers and everything. They definitely portray her as that now. So she's that whisper in the ear that's been around, well past the medieval times and into like they said, the dawn of human history. So very much the witch feel, and how they've portrayed her here now makes a little bit more sense, and the care that they've taken with her, now I see her importance a little bit. So let's have a look at the kit that she's coming with, because man, she comes with a lot. Reminding you that this was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive that sat for days for premium members only until after the Comic Cons were done, and then it opened up to the rest of us. I was able to grab it right off the bat. I don't know if it's sold out or in stock by the time you're watching this video, but do check it out if you don't have this one. We'll go have a look at the kit. And guys, I'll just remind you, if you like these kind of videos, like, share, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And please feel free to talk about Pythona or your thoughts on Cobra Law or anything like that in the comments. Much appreciate the engagement. And I'm going to go pull this kid out and show you what she's got. All right, so the box wants you to pay attention to her head feature with those spiky earrings and the removable ponytail and things like interchangeable ponytail, I should call them. They want you to look at her little creature features that she comes with. She comes with a lot of creature features, and that's what I'm calling these things. Aquatic based crustacean, what mollusks? I guess they're mollusks for the most part. And then they want you to pay attention to the hood feature on there, and she's holding some of those other underwater creatures like the multiple moray eel and her half sucked lifesaver there. So she's got this cloak, which you can use to mask her in many ways, or you can subtly reveal her by pulling it down a little bit. You can see that it's kind of hooked. It's got that very evil, Doctor of Poisons kind of vibe to it. So no problems there. And you can pull it right back without having to do much and just slip it under her ponytail if you want it down. I'll just do that with two hands and we'll save ourselves some time here as I pull this lengthy ponytail out of her head. While I do this off camera and show you pictures to blind you while I fix it, there we go. You can continue down this cloak and see that it's got this like leathery, I guess, reptilian kind of appeal to it, like the texture of the cloaking there. And then these eroding organic holes to it, like they weren't torn there, they grew there. Inside it's pink to match what her bodysuit looks like. And again, appealing to the whole clamshell idea of the mollusks inside, right? So she's got definitely the vibe of a Cobra Law. She kind of sets the tone for the vibe for Cobra Law a bit better than, say, Once a Man Cobra Commander does, as far as their thematics, right? We'll get into the buck later. In her hands right now, you can see I called them the half-sucked lifesavers because that's what they remind me of. But these translucent pink throwing blades, with the dual snake handles, so the infinite snake blades, if you would. These things are really kind of cool. I like them a little bit more than I thought they were. I thought they were a rather insignificant little feature. The only criticism I have is when she's not using them, I don't see anywhere, because there's no utility buck, nor should there be, like no utility belt, on the buck. There's nowhere to hide them. So in a bag they go when you are not using them, right? So nowhere to put them, but she's got the hands to go with them. That's what she has the grippy hands for, is all the little things she has to hold. And there's so many. So let's get into some of the other ones. All right, so Pythona is definitely the kind of woman that if she says, I want to show you my secret wonders, your instant reaction should be no and run, right? Here's one of those secret wonders. I'm going to start with this face biter, hugger, possessor thing because it's got articulation unlike some of the others. So we'll get it there. It's got two little opposable mandibles here on its sides. The third one doesn't, but it's very flexible. Nor does the tail do any movement other than being flexible. And this is clearly meant so that it can grab onto a guy's head or areas to kind of bite onto things, right, and hang on. So maybe I'll be able to get some shots of that. But cool little feature, definitely the more interactive of her arsenal. And I don't know what this is called, but I call it Bitey McBiteface because that's what it is, right? But clearly like an alien face hugger kind of concept going on there. So I thought that was an interesting one. What else you got going on there, lady? The moray eel is one of those things where if I'm ever diving in the ocean or swimming in the ocean, these are one of the last things I want to run into, say sharks and barracudas. I would never want to have my arm attached to one of these things. And she's got her arm's holding, four of them right now. And I think that's a really cool little feature. It's like a Hydra moray kind of thing. I've got her wrist canted wrong, but it's an interesting attack, like a close quarters attack to just hit somebody with a bunch of morays or launch them at her. It is a neat little feature, and it entwines around her arm. you could also just set it down anywhere and it would just be snaking along the ground like that, like rushing snakes would, or rushing eels, I should say. So I really like this feature. This is probably my second favorite little option that she comes with. And there's some nice paint apps in there, the pink of the mouth and the little black dots of the eyes. They didn't neglect the paint colors on these, and that was important for this set. You couldn't leave these uncolored the way you do Joe weapons, right? That would be an utter fail. But I'll get into it with the hands, but it needs some of this stuff needs an open hand more than the trigger figure hand, and we're going to get into one of them now, which is unfortunately we're going to talk about her clam. Here we go. So I know, jokes aside, it is a clam that we're talking about. Here we have this like I said, this mollusk or whatever you call them opening, and you can see how the gooey mouth part is just kind of open and bottom. And they've alluded to this on the box art for Once a Man, Cobra Commander, and Nemesis Immortal. These kind of things have always been sitting there in the box, on the box art, but much more blown up, right? So she's got one. And as intriguing as the inside is, the outer shell is actually a really nice hue of like moss green. So it's kind of like, and it's a different tone of green than the other accessories, right? So it's got more of a wash to it to deepen it. And I had to notice that because as we go to the next mollusk based accessory she's got is a similar clam, but this one's spiky and it has these tongues coming out of it like it's going to come get things, right? So again, another nod to the box art we've seen for Cobra Law themed figures. And I'm sure we'll see Globulus coming with more accessories similar to this. And the Royal Guard box art will probably have more nods to this stuff. But that's another handheld accessory that she needs an open hand for, I find. And the only open hands she has are hands that she has effects for. So as I play with this and get photos, we'll see how it works and see how I can make it, natural for her holding this stuff. But interesting kit nonetheless. Let's get into the last couple of pieces here. So this little tick or parasitic kind of creature that she comes with, it's kind of like a turtleback shell, but like I said, it's more like a tick, right? And it's got that familiar beak and squid-like tentacles for its crawling, right? And that is very closely related, I'm sure, to the same kind of beaked. Where is that beak? Right there, beaked go doer for Nemesis Immortal there. So I thought that was an interesting little critter. I like it. You know, little hunk of plastic, but more importantly, again, not neglected with the paint details. And they did put an emphasis on the beak. Now, where the beak on Serpentor, or not Serpentors, but Nemesis Immortals was black, this one is more of a dark hue brown, right? So we've got two tones of green. No, pardon me, because the underbelly is an off green, like a light green. Then you have your organic tentacles. That's another green or brown, light brown. I can't tell. And then green again on the back, but it's a darker green, and then the brown. So four colors just on this little thing here, right? Interesting. The last one we'll talk about is this pink diamond kind of, giant ruby or magic crystal, we'll call it. It is semi-translucent. You can shine light and you will see light through it, but you won't see details through it. It's not that clear. And again, we're going to be interested in seeing how she holds it, right? So neat little piece of kit there. Let's have a look at the buck now because that's got some more interest to it as well. All right, so we've got a really kind of cool design here. Clearly, all new, all new design, all new work at play. Just showing you butterflies on T poses while we do that and Van Dam's. The articulation wasn't going to be in question. They do well with the tight design of the female bucks, but pinless, double jointed knees and elbows, of course. Waist swivel, mid torso swivel, butterflies, a really tight neck joint, but you can get some up down out of it, no problem. But it seems tighter than it should be, and that again I think is the organic bodysuit. the way that they've worked the crinkles into her neckline and everything, they've kept that neckline really tight. So it almost feels more like a Marvel Legend neck to me than, say, a typical um, classified neck. Uh, thigh cut, clear and visible right up here. Mine's a little tight out of the box, but I could crack that. Oh man, is that ever tight? There we go. So there we go. Right there. And then you can see this nice body line design on her where it's pink and then purple. This is a Prince in the Revolution kind of action figure. He'd be proud of this one. But we'll start with the head to toe down where we got this ponytail that she's got. There was one of two. I could swap it out right now, take it out. It's a single post hole. I could put the other one in, and it's a much longer ponytail. This one's better when she's not wearing the hood ornament and everything, or hood feature. This one's fine when she is wearing it. Neither of them really stop the hood feature from working, right? So that's cool. It's not like the 60th anniversary Marine Sniper where that hood just was so tight you couldn't do much with it. This hood has so much flex and give to it that everything works, right? So, and I've taken this cloak off so you can kind of see all of this working. So that's the one head feature where she's really angry. We've got the pink swirl serpentine makeup there and these vampire-esque fangs. Love the serpent eye features, the yellow and black eyes, and yeah, these spiky earrings, these gold tooth earrings, will hook on the cloak when you're trying to pull it up. If you don't kind of wiggle the head around, you get them snagged on. But I like that they're not brittle. They'll bend, they'll give, but they'll take their form back easy. So let's pop the other head on and show you a less intimidating and more divine, if you would. I don't know, pretty, sure. Definitely more alluring head feature where she's not showing off those fangs. She's got those soft purple lips. The makeup hasn't changed, the eyes haven't changed, but the ferocity has changed, right? Nice little head feature there. I like the shaved head with the ponytail being the theme for this witch. You find examples of that in a lot of cultures and lore and history, so it kind of fits in that she's been influencing many over time. But I really do love her in this cloak, and it's a damn shame because it hides so much detail around here. For guys who need a ghetto booty, this one will remind you a little bit more of one wearing Depends and senior citizens kind of stuff. They've worked that carapace all over her. It works great. And I'm kind of cool that, this is not a character besides a repaint, perhaps, that I could expect them to get much reuse out of. They might use this as a female royal guard one day, and paint it and cover it with deco and things like this, or they may never use this again, and I'm fine with it because what a unique body design that is. All right, so I've gone over the heads. Let's go over the hands because they're interchangeable as well. I still have these trigger figure hands, right? They are very much trigger figure hands, but they're meant to hold those swirling lifesaver serpent discs that I talked about. But you've seen enough of them. Let's get some other ones on there. So most of this, I think, guys would recognize as her kind of powers from the animated GI Joe movie, things like that, right? What she could do. So she's got this mist effect on her hand, this like smoky. It just looks kind of gross, like a big old wart. But I don't think that's what it is, and I don't remember what it was when they show it in the cartoons. Somebody can correct me in the comments, but clearly this is part of her mystic abilities. And then we have the poison fingers, or if it's her own blood acid, it's covering her fingernails. So I just think it's poison that she emits from under the nail bed there. Very cool. But these are the open hand features that I was talking about, wherein if I want her to hold something, this is what I'm working with. I'm working with these alternate featured hands. So these trigger figure hands become even more important. And then after that, you're just dealing with punchy fists, right? And I'll get those on there. And the punchy fists are fine. You can still used the moray eel accessory, but nothing else. And this is her doing her brawler stuff, which doesn't feel right to me with her being the witch. I would have preferred some actual holdy hands that really manipulate the the shells that she's carrying. This, have it so that she can actually hold that open without any other distractions on the hands, right? The only other criticism I'd say on this back is why are we having a backpack peg on a thing that we're never going to use again? Like, this whole thing was remolded to fit her, and she has no backpack option that I can see. Nothing on here had a peg for it. It's not like with Nemesis Immortals little critter. Maybe they wanted you to be able to use that. Let's have a look. Could you put her Harry or whatever his name is? It's a tough fit. No, no, you can get it. All right, so maybe this is why they did that, right? So you could have her holding Nemesis Immortals thing. Maybe we can put his wings on her. Either way, I guess that answers my question. Why would you leave that hole open? Shut up, Crow. You just found out. Anyways, I think I'm ready to finish playing with her and give you guys some grading here. All right. You guys ready for some grading? I am too. Okay, I'm going to start with the tack grade on this character. This is a witch. This is an immortal witch that's, fitting that image of the whisper in the ear of rulers, kings, and politicians over time. Got it. We looked at her file card. Is she doing her job? As far as her kit and everything, yes. Tactically, she's got all the things that I would expect a witch to come from. Pet creatures, sources of magic, a couple of ancient weapons, all that kind of stuff, and then some, obvious power. Even though I don't like these hand features, obvious power. So as far as her tactics go on herself, she's really good to go. I'd say a 5 out of 5 for her tactics. And I will go 4 out of 5 on Hasbro's tactics because, the way that they're doing Cobra Law is really working. The only reason I took a point away is because they are caught in this idea of, so much effects on here that they could have done. They could have just done one of these and given us a pair of open hands that didn't have distractions on them so she could interact with her diamond and her mollusks and things like that. So tactically, they missed an opportunity to give us just a bit more play and also, character, with her hands like that. So I would say 4. Also, I'm really biased and I need to take a point away from a good fig, okay? There you go. Play. I'm going to go 5 out of 5 on play because of all of that. But, that point that I talked about where it's like, yeah, we've got effects hands that are open, but no effect hands that are open for play interaction. That's why I took it off of tack, because I don't want to take it off of play, because play for this figure is really good, guys. You got extra hands, extra heads, lots of little creatures and effects, and she can even interact with other kit from other characters, making her even more versatile to your Cobra Law collection. So 5 out of 5 on that. On the je ne sais quoi is where I'm going to state where my bias kicks in. It would take a lot for me to blow my mind with Cobra Law. This is probably as close as it's going to get as far as, yeah, it's a gross figure to me, but they made it really cool. I never saw the appeal of Pythona. When people were excited, I was just like, whatever, it's just another piece of the Cobra Law puzzle, which I'll have a look at and go. When I decided to buy her, it was well after everybody was panicking and rushing to buy her. I just happened to notice she was available and just happened to say, yeah, all right, order. I felt no drive or ambitions to get her for any reason other than just collecting it. No regrets, but she doesn't blow my mind, right? She's cool. She comes with some great insights kits and everything like that. But she's not my favorite figure in my collection. She's just a really strong outing for a group of Cobra type characters that I wasn't overly committed to. But yeah, I do think she's a solid figure. And if you are a Pythona fan, You're really going to like this figure. Yours in a cigar is probably 5. Mine's sitting around a 4. Let's call it a 4 for this one. All right. I like it. It impressed me, but it didn't blow my mind like it did with others. So that's going to do it on this one, guys. 554 for a character I don't really care about her lore at all. But nice add to the collection. She'll look good with the other Cobra Laws. I'll have some fun taking some photos and playing around with her for you guys when I do my editing. But let me know what you thought of Pythona. Were you looking forward to her? Were you a Cobra Law fan the whole time? It's cool if you were. Or were you one of the unique ones that were like, yeah, man, even this won't sell me on Cobra Law. I'm not buying it, kind of thing. Because there's some of you guys out there too. And yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I hope to see us again back here soon when who knows which figure's coming next, but that new wave is coming due. We'll see you very soon. Thanks for watching.